All right, let's get right into it. So you've probably heard the term quantum-safe cryptography thrown around a lot. It's supposed to be this future-proof shield, right? The thing that's going to protect everything from our banking info to government secrets from these super powerful quantum computers. But what if the biggest threat isn't some crazy mathematical attack? What if it's something way, way more subtle?
Now this sounds like a total contradiction, doesn't it? I mean, how can your security depend on errors? And how could those same errors become the very thing an attacker goes after? Let's unpack this, because getting this one idea really changes how you have to look at security in the real world. Okay, so a lot of our best hopes for a quantum-proof future are built on this thing called lattice-based cryptography. Here's a way to think about it. Imagine a simple math problem, kind of like navigating a city that's a perfect grid. Easy. But now what if you add a little bit of randomness, a small random error, or, as cryptographers call it, noise? Suddenly, it's like throwing random one-way streets and dead ends all over that perfect grid. That easy problem just became a nightmare to solve.
And this is the part that might break your brain a little. In these new cryptographic systems, that noise, that error, it's not a mistake. It is the entire point. That's the secret sauce that makes the encryption so strong. It's like having a secret key that's based on a really shaky, unique signature. It's that very imperfection that makes it basically impossible for anyone else to copy.
And that leads us to the real question. I mean, in the perfect world of math on a whiteboard, random is just a word, a concept. But out here in the real world, where this code actually has to run on a real computer, where does that genuine, unpredictable noise actually get made? And this is exactly where the beautiful theory crashes into messy reality. This is where the two worlds collide. Over on one side, you've got the pure, clean, perfect world of mathematics. That's where the algorithms are born. But on the other side, you've got the physical silicon chips where these things have to live and breathe. And those chips are messy. They're physical. They're getting bombarded by all the noise and interference of the real world.
You've got to understand this point because it's absolutely crucial. You can have the most beautiful, perfect math in the universe, but it means nothing if the hardware it's running on is vulnerable. That physical machine, the silicon itself, is just as much a part of the security system as the code it's running.
So what kind of stuff are we talking about? Well, all sorts of things, really. A tiny little spike in temperature, a small dip in the voltage coming from the power supply, even stray radio waves flying through the air or just normal background radiation. We're not talking about huge dramatic events. These are subtle physical things that can gently nudge how a processor behaves and, most importantly, how it generates that so-called random noise.
And this is where the attack gets really clever. You don't need to be a math genius who can crack the algorithm from the outside. No, instead, you can just influence the hardware. What if you could carefully zap it with a little heat or mess with the voltage just so to make those random errors, well, not so random anymore? You could actually bias the noise, steering it in a direction that helps you, and basically gut the entire system from the inside out.
So what this means is the whole game has changed. Completely. We used to think of hardware faults as just, annoying glitches. Now, they're the main way in. We saw noise as just this neutral random thing. Now, it's a target that an attacker wants to control. And the hardware itself? It's not just a platform anymore. It is officially part of the attack surface.
So if the very foundation of our next-generation security is this carefully manufactured randomness, and we now know that randomness can be pushed around, what on earth do we do about it?
It really boils down to this new fundamental rule for security. The thing that's generating the randomness, that physical process happening on the chip, is now just as critical to protect as your actual password or secret key. We can't just be obsessed with the algorithm anymore. We have to defend the physical source of its power.
This means that real, true quantum-safe security isn't going to be a single product. It has to be a layered defense. Of course, you need strong algorithms. That's step one. That's the baseline. But on top of that, you need fault-resistant implementations, code that's smart enough to notice or even handle these physical glitches. And finally, you need hardware awareness, designing entire systems that know these physical attacks exist and are built to protect against them.
In the end, it all comes back to this one truth. The entire foundation of modern cryptography, the whole shebang, is built on unpredictability. The moment an attacker can control those random errors, they can get rid of the unpredictability. And when that happens, the promise of security just vanishes.
So, I'll leave you with this to chew on. It's a massive challenge for the folks building the next generation of security. we're pretty good at protecting data and secret keys. But when the very idea of a random error becomes a security feature itself, how in the world do you protect that?